Morning, this is Reverend Felton Christian coming to you again with another edition of Living Life, the 6 Mile Walk. I rose early this morning with a thought on my mind about a metaphor that is being used in business and churches and advertisement alike. The phrase is thinking outside of the box. This idea of thinking up outside of the box is really encouraging one to be creative in the way that one thinks and approaches things, whether writing or problem solving or simply trying to accomplish a task that no one else has accomplished or that you have tried to accomplish but have been unsuccessful. I then began to ponder the idea of a sacred box that contained certain items. This moved me back to this idea or this metaphor of thinking outside of the box. I wanted to know who designed the box, who determined what the box is and its limitations. And then I went back to this sacred box, a box that contained 3 items. Item number 1 was a rod of authority. Item number 2 was provision of bread. And item number 3 were 2 tablets with the moral law written in it. I began to think, why in the world, if in fact we want to think outside of the box, would a Christian try and think outside of that sacred box? Unfortunately, the world has begun to think outside of the box more and more. And sadly, so have many who purport to be Christian. This idea of thinking outside of the assigned authority of God, this idea of rejecting God's provision, and this idea of rejecting God's moral law, and thinking laterally on how we can get around that and yet continue to be Christian. I'm here to tell you today that that's an impossibility, because without the rule of God, without the moral law of God, and without the provision of God, while we may be thinking outside of that sacred box, we have entered into thinking in another box, a box that continues to expand, a box that has no boundaries, and a box that will end up in nothingness. I challenge you today, who are Christian, to think inside the box as opposed to thinking outside of the box when it comes to your spiritual well-being. For those of you who are not Christian, I challenge you to go and examine the scripture and find out what's in the box and why. This is Reverend Felton Christian signing off and asking you to always look us up on CoventGuardMinistries.org, where you might gain more information and inspiration. God bless you and have a good day.